Awesome. So we're live. We're streaming on my Facebook page, my Facebook business page, and my YouTube page. Um, Let me see. So yeah, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Nothing But Nuggets podcast. It's your boy Antoine Campbell once again. I got a special guest with me today, my friend Rashauna Scott. I met Rashauna through a bunch of mutual friends through Christine and Maxwell. And ever since I met her, she's been cool. Like every time I met her, she's always cool. She's down to earth. She's very approachable. So I definitely wanted to get her on the show because I see that she's out in the shop doing her thing. Building legacy and building wealth through fixing and flipping and a multifamily, raising money, and representing clients as well to be a passive investor. So, welcome, Rashauna, and introduce yourself to everyone.
Thanks so much for having me. So, hey guys, like Antoine said, I am in Chicago. My name is Rashauna Scott, born and raised on the south side of Chicago, and Chicago is my market. What's up, Chris? Oh, that's cool. I didn't know you could see the comments popping up. But yeah,
Yeah, I
so
can add them
Chicago,
to them back.
right? Nice. You fancy. Okay. So, Chicago is my market, and like you said, I do help clients, like you said, create that passive income, build long term wealth. 80% of my clients are investors, so they're purchasing multifamily properties or they're purchasing property to go in and do value add, fix and flips. But the multifamily sector, whether it's a 2 unit, 3 unit, or 4 unit on the residential side, and in commercial, anything that's 5 units and up. Commercial is currently it's a different world right now, and we can touch on that a little bit later on in the interview. But yeah, and then I have some experience in the fix and flip world, tax lien investing, raising private capital, and then also doing some private investing myself. So I would say those are a couple of things about myself. But yeah, I'm out here, like you said, every day. I'm in these streets. And real estate is not stopping. The market is in full effect, full swing. And so, here real estate is an essential business. So we're out still working, still, closing on the houses, still doing deals.
Awesome. So, what got you started in real estate? Like, what was your experience getting started?
So my experience with getting started, so I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to, I was introduced to the idea of financial freedom and financial literacy and all of those terms. I would say probably mid like high school. And from there, again, just knowing that I didn't want to, be working for somebody else the rest of my life. Of course, that was the only thing I knew. I didn't know anything else. I didn't know what path. I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know what steps to take. And I was working at a health food store, which was my first job, and I was checking people out at the register. And working at a health food store, there were a lot of seniors who came in and a lot of regulars too. So I would create relationships, obviously, with people who come in because you're seeing them on a daily or weekly basis. And I'll never forget there was this guy, and I think he was Greek. I think he was Greek. His name's Ulysses, and he and I would talk all the time, just about just random things, right? Just how I was doing, what was going on in school or work or whatever. And I don't remember how or when. I don't remember the conversation, but I just know he said that there's a book that he gives to all of his tenants, and he was going to bring it to me. And next thing I know, next time I saw him, he brought me the book, and lo and behold, the book was Rich Dad Poor Dad. So I read the book, and from there, I knew that I wanted to go into entrepreneurship. But then when I read the book, I was like, okay, so real estate is going to be the way. That's going to be my avenue. That's
Right.
going to be my journey for entrepreneurship. And so fast forward a little bit, my very first stab at real estate was reaching out to a mentor, reaching out to someone who I know had some success in real estate. And he was helping me pretty much like lay the foundation to learning and understanding everything about real estate, what the terminology is, what things mean, and whatnot. And then from there, I actually got my license because I was like, you know what, I can't figure this thing out. And so the easier thing to do was to go and get my license. I was like, I was already in school and I was like, I can take a class and take a test, right? So that was my way to
What
get my
year was
feet
this?
wet. This was, so I'm 28. Um, this was probably like 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. Yeah,
Okay.
somewhere in there. Yeah. So like 10
So,
years ago. So like
so
10
you've been
years
around
ago.
for a break.
Huh?
You've been around for a minute. I said you've been around for a minute then.
Well, yeah, I want to age myself, but it's been a lot of trial and error, right? Because literally, I mean, when people ask me, and I know you get the DMs too, how did you get started, right? Like, and I'd be so tired of that
Oh yeah.
question because how I got started really doesn't matter because how I got started is my personal journey on how I got started. Like, people should be focusing on how they can get started and what they need to do because their picture is not going to look like mine. But how I got started, what I tell people is a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error, a lot of trying to figure it out and messing up and losing money and trusting people I shouldn't have trusted and, just learning a lot of lessons along the way. So it wasn't just like, so yeah, I started 10 years ago. I incorporated my first business when I was 19 and I built up the business line of credit. And at that time, I didn't even know what to do with it. Like, I was trying to piece information together because I had like a mentor at the time, but I also learned that people can only take you as far as they are or as far as they've gone. And so that was when
Right,
I
right.
realized, like, even though this person was smart and they knew a lot of terminology around real estate, like he used to be a loan officer back in the day before the market dried up, and as I grew I understood why a lot of people were successful being a loan officer back in the day, but
Right.
again, that's one very small segment of the market, right? But investing is a whole nother thing. And so that was when I realized like it's not just enough to have one mentor. You need to have many mentors, across the
Yeah.
different sectors of, what it is you want to do.
I always say you need to specifically have mentors that specialize in a specific niche or
Yep.
whatever you need. You shouldn't just have one generalized mentor because they don't know everything. I don't know everything. Like you might seek me for like VAs. They might seek you for passive investing. There's a particular niche that you specialize in. So what's the importance of having these individualized mentors and how did that affect your career?
So I will say it definitely helped me get started. And it helped answer a lot of those basic questions that I had up front. But then also, it encouraged me that I could do pretty much whatever I wanted to do, because of course, when you're that young, you're a young black woman and you have these big grand dreams and you have no idea on how you're going to get there, right? Like you see
Right.
like your dreams and visions and everything over there, and but then there's no bridge. And so having a mentor definitely gave me that encouragement, to go for what I wanted to go for, but I still had to put in the work. So I literally had to build the bridge, like he might have been giving me, the bricks to lay it, but I literally had to put in the work and put it all together and bring the glue, and all of that. And so I would say, that's definitely one of the things that helped and what was instrument in having a mentor was giving me that courage that I needed to know that, I could do what I need to do and go after what I wanted to go after. And then from there, man, I went to as many free workshops and seminars as I could. I went to all the free stuff, and that's why I tell people today, I'm like, man, people today, I'm so jealous. Like, y'all got it easy. Like, y'all got podcasts and YouTube, and like,
Yeah.
there was not this much information 10 years ago. And not only was it for free, first of all, for free. There was not this much information for free because the workshops and the seminars that I went to, there was always an upsell at the end, right? So you never got all the information. And I'm a young broke college student, so I didn't have no, thousands of dollars at the time to invest in all of these different products. But yeah, having a mentor definitely, like I said, laid the foundation and gave me that courage to go after, what I wanted to go after. But again, like I said, I had to put in the work and build the bridge and lay the bricks.
So today, as we stand today, what does your business look like? What part is it strictly traditional MLS type of transaction, and what part is it legacy building type of transaction?
So a large part of my business is actually the retail side of it. So which actually didn't start out that way. I got my license so I could have access to the MLS and things like that, as far as most investors do. And I was like, you know what? I'll help friends and family along the way. But it just so happened that more and more people, I mean, literally the day that I posted, hey, I just passed my test, I had a client, right? But
Wow.
I say all that, yeah, because that's a testament to brand awareness and brand building. Because I went ahead and got my license. I was like, oh, this should just be, some extra money. I want to say I was working full time at the time, and but people knew me for real estate. And that's what I tell people. The consumer doesn't know the difference. They don't know the difference between if you're an investor, if you're a wholesaler, if you buy and hold, if you flip, if you're a realtor. They don't know. The average consumer, they just know you do real estate. So
Right.
so I was getting a lot of people who was coming to me who needed a realtor, and I was referring everybody out. And then that's when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna just go ahead and get my license, because I actually had my license prior. So in 2013, I got my leasing license, and I was just working with landlords and tenants at the time, because that's the easier to get than your broker license.
Right.
But then I realized, within a year, I was like, this ain't enough money for me. This, I'm gonna go do something else. But I was also working full time and in school full time, so this was literally like my side hustle outside of being in school full time and working full time. But doing that helped me understand the contract language, the contract law, the Illinois law, things like that. So that, like I said, that was in 2013. So fast forward, I invested into a guru program, and I spent thousands of dollars in that. And then, was in that program for a couple of years, and then went back and got my license. So I say all that to say that in 2017, when I decided to get my broker's license, again, I was just doing it to help further my education as an investor. But then more and more people were coming to me because, again, they just knew me for real estate. And then at the time, I saw a shift happening in the market. I saw a shift happening with millennials, and millennials really wanting to become home buyers, and generational wealth and like house hacking started to get a name, and a lot of people were understanding that term. And so that really took off from there. I also have some flips under my belt, and with the current state of the market, I'm actually taking a break from flips. I have one that I just sold, another one under contract, and two more on the market. And then I'm actually focusing on looking at, okay, where is the demand? Where are the consumers? Where are the buyers? Where are the sellers? Where are the investors? And that space is really in like the multifamily space, especially in Chicago. So I've actually been shifting my efforts to, directly go towards like more of those deals.
I love the pivot, man. Like how important is being able to be quick on your feet and just pivot
Yeah.
in a moment's notice, just like you're doing.
Yeah, you have to. And then, it's a matter of using everything you already know and everything you already have, and all of the connections and the resources that you already have. For me, I've been blessed to be able to connect the dots, right? Because even on the flipping side, like, I have insight to the market as a realtor, because I work with buyers and I walk properties with buyers, and I know exactly what they're looking for, and I know exactly what makes them turn their nose up at a project. So
Right.
I make sure to incorporate this or that or that or this, in my projects, right? To make sure that, so again, just being well rounded and making sure that you use all of the information and all of the resources that you have to do whatever you need to do. So, like you said, whether it's to sell more properties, whether it's to contract more properties, whether it's to market better, whether it is to pivot, right. And so, I mean, yeah, it's definitely, it's a moving market, and I believe that, and then also too in Chicago, like I understand not every market is a buy and hold market, right? Like California or New York or something like that, right? Like it's going to be more difficult for the average individual to invest in property and to actually cash flow. So I also
Right.
understand my market, and I know that in my market you can buy and hold. The numbers make sense. You can cash flow. You can flip. The margins are there. You can wholesale. The opportunities are there. So again, it's also important to know your market, because when it does come time to pivot, it's like, which way you gonna go?
Right. Speaking of market, what are some pointers you can give someone to kind of analyze their market? Is a cash flow driven market, a fix and flip type of market?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, basically, I mean, it's just a matter of being able to run numbers. A lot of it is it's, I mean, it's almost so common, like that it's common sense, but it's also, I mean, it just comes down to numbers, right? So if you have a property, you purchase and rehab, it's a matter of understanding how to analyze rehabs, right? And
Right.
not every new investor is going to be able to analyze rehab. So now you may have to create some relationships with contractors. Like I was just at a property today with a new contractor, who I introduced to one of my 203K retail clients, who's going to be doing a renovation loan, but taking a chance on that relationship and growing relationships, because you have to have certain qualifications when you do different types of loans. But having those resources, right? And then also having the referrals and the people that can connect you. So having the resources to be able to analyze rehabs and know your numbers there. Also understanding how to do an ARVs, right? Run ARVs, running comps. I know Max talks about this all the time. He has great videos. I call it the 3 on 3 on 3 rule. I look for 3 properties that have sold within the last 3 months within a 3 block radius. And I think if I cannot find exactly what I'm looking for with that, then you expand, right? Maybe you aren't looking at 3 blocks. Maybe you're looking at now half a mile. Or maybe you go out a mile, right? Maybe instead of 3 months, now you're going out 6 months, or you're going out 12 months. Instead of 3 properties, maybe you want to find 4, 5, or 6. But those are just the basics of finding comps and comparables and things like that. So knowing that you make money on the front end on the purchase, being able to analyze the rehab and understanding your ARV, you're able to know, you're going to know if it makes sense, for you, if that's a good flip deal or not. And then on the other side of that, what are all of the costs that are associated in your market when it comes to owning property, right? And
Right.
I say that because, yeah, we can run standard numbers across the board, but specifically to your market, are you in a flood zone? Are you in like there's so many different factors that can go into, analyzing your numbers based on your market. But I mean, again, literally, I would say it all comes down to the numbers. Your debt service, meaning your mortgage on a property, minus any other expenses, your vacancy rate, your maintenance, and then what are the average rents in that area? A great source that I always use is rentometer or rentometer,
Yeah.
to find what are average rents in an area and seeing if it cash flows, and especially because with what's going on right now in the current market, like I tell all of my clients, like, don't invest for appreciation. You need to invest for cash flow. Like if you plan on holding this property long term, don't buy it because you think it's in an appreciating market, because you think the value is going to go up. If the value goes up, that's great. But if the value doesn't go up, if the value goes down, right? Because that's what happens with the market. Values go up and down. If
Right.
the value goes down, are you still able to cash flow, on this property, and what's your percentage, what's your ratio? So
Right.
it all comes down to the
Yeah.
numbers.
So is there a preferred amount of cash flow you want to see in order for you to refer your clients or yourself to taking down that particular asset?
Yeah, absolutely. 10%. Yeah, 10%. There's a lot of investors that do what is it? Like the 1% rule.
Right, right.
And it, but I also think that
Can you
that is
explain to
per
the
market.
audience what a 1% rule is? Because some people might not even know what that is.
So what is it? Does the rent amount equal 1% of the purchase price?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, because see, I don't go off of it, but I know a lot of people have said that. Does the rent amount equal 1% of the purchase price? Um, I don't know. Do you run your numbers like that? Because I think
Right
that's
now,
per market.
because right now we about to start holding property. So to be honest with you,
Uh-huh.
if I can't make $500 per deal, like it's a couple of flips we consider keeping right now, but the lenders kind of tighten up. So we waiting for them to kind of loosen up again and start back lending to consider refinancing. But yeah, I want to make at least 500 per house.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me because the amount of energy and effort. I know people say 250, 200, but if you buy right and you renovate the house yourself, you're going to be saving money for the next 2 3 years because you shouldn't have to worry about maintenance. So all the houses we do, we put brand new HVAC, brand new windows, all the good stuff, so that a person can have a good solid product for the next 10 plus years.
Right, right, yeah, and then that lowers your maintenance expense over the next couple of years. So it just
Mhm.
makes sense, like you said, to spend that money up front. And then also too, the majority of my clients, um, they are living in the property too. So I do work with investors, but then I also work with a lot of owner occupant investors too, who are, like I said, doing a whole house hacking thing, who love house hacking, like they go crazy about house hacking. So that's why like the multifamily market is kind of crazy right now, especially in Chicago. And I've heard like it's more and more markets who have
Man,
multifamily units, because I
I've been
understand
following
most
I've
markets
been
don't
following
have
your
them.
stories for a while, and I've been sitting back watching these deals you post. I'm like, man, I might have to hop out on a plane to Chicago. It's it got a bad perception for me on the outside looking in, but I follow the money, whatever the money is, so I don't care.
Have you been to Chicago?
Not yet. I'm looking to come.
See,
Maybe
that's
you
the
could.
problem.
Maybe you create some type of mastermind or invitation, or find a way for me to make an excuse to come there.
Well, I was supposed to have something, but COVID
Hey,
just
COVID ruthless
came
right now.
through.
Yeah, they showing no
Yeah,
mercy to
COVID
nobody.
came through, but but yeah. So because the majority of my clients are doing that strategy too, house hacking, um, we make sure that the mortgage, the rent at least covers the mortgage at
Right.
minimum. If the rent doesn't cover the mortgage, because let's say you're living in a multi-unit property, the idea is to live mortgage free or rent free, and that is the hack on the house hack, right? So you are able to own an asset that you can obviously pay down the mortgage on by using somebody else's efforts, your tenant, and then you get to live rent free. And so, the income that you have and that you're generating from that property can help you qualify to buy more property. So, with those numbers, and then obviously, the more units you have, the more potential for income for you to make. So if it's a 3 unit or 4 unit, I'm also huge on down payment assistance programs, grants, and all of that. Like leveraging as much as you can up front to help you buy these properties, to really start setting you up for long-term generational wealth, because you only got to live in these properties for a year or so, and then you can move out and move on to other properties.
Someone asked before we go a little further. Someone asked, "What is house hacking?" I know you explained it, but maybe they didn't catch it. Can you explain to them again what is house hacking?
Yeah, so house hacking is essentially when you buy a property. It can be a single family property, or it can be a multi-unit property, and you rent out areas of that property to help you pay for the mortgage. So let's say you have a single family home. Let's say you have a 3 or 4 bedroom house, and you're renting out the bedrooms in that house to help you pay for the mortgage, to help you live essentially mortgage free. If you have a $1,500 mortgage, and you got, 2 bedrooms that you rent out for $700 a piece. It's $1,400 to help you go towards your mortgage, as opposed to you living in an apartment and paying $1,000 a month towards your rent, and you're just making your landlord rich. Or you can even rent out the garage of that house, or you got a shed
Yeah.
that you can rent out,
Yeah.
or when you have a multi-unit, owner occupants, meaning you have to live in the property, they actually can qualify to buy up to 4 units as a residential purchase. So buying up to 4 units is going to be the same type of loan product as it were if you were to buy a single family home, a townhouse, or a condo. It's the same exact type of loan. However, you're going to get more units. So you live in 1 unit, let's say it's a 2 unit, 3 unit, 4 unit, you live in one and you rent out the other unit. So what are you doing with that rental income? You're taking it and paying down your mortgage, right? So essentially your tenants are paying for an asset that you own, right? And hopefully it's going to appreciate in value.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that was at first until you explained it. My friend Maria, we were real good friends. Actually, I had on my show about 3 4 episodes ago. She does the same thing in her primary residence, and she had multiple roommates, and they literally cover her mortgage, her utilities, everything. And she took the difference of what she was supposed to pay for a mortgage and started busting down the student loan debts, all different types of credit card debts that she had.
Love
And
it.
like she's
I love
literally
it.
like almost debt free, I believe. So
I
yeah,
love
that's an awesome
it.
way to do
That's a
things.
whole that's a whole hack.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a whole hack. So what's her
So,
plan? Does she plan on buying another property, or she's
oh
gonna be
yeah,
there for
she's
a
planning
while?
on becoming more of a multi-family investor.
Nice.
She's learning and educating herself. I always tell people, educate yourself first. Just like you said earlier in the show, like there's a wealth of free knowledge out here that before you jump into something head first, at least understand the fundamentals. Like Papa Tony tell us,
Right.
know the rules, son. Know the rules before you play the game, and you
Right.
won't get burned. So you said something to me earlier that caught my attention. And you said when you first started out, you had an LLC, and then you got a line of credit. Like not too many people know how to leverage business credit. Can you
I
briefly
didn't
talk
know.
about your experiences with business credit and what has it done for you?
Yeah, so what I did was I built up my business line of credit because my mentor at the time taught me about like net 30 accounts and that whole type of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty much how I built it up. So pretty much for those who don't know, net 30 accounts are accounts that will allow you to buy a product today, but you don't have to pay for it until 30 days later. So that's a typical payment process among B2B, right? Business to business. And you
Right.
can set it up with you can set up your account with a brand new business. And Amazon has Net 30, Uline, Quill, Granger, those are some of the top companies. Best Buy, Home Depot. There's a lot of companies out there that have net 30, net 60, net 90-day accounts. And what I did was I set those up, and I went ahead and built up those, and then made sure that they reported to my business credit score, which is my Paydex score. And once I built that up, then I was able to go after larger accounts. So now, instead of just having net 30 accounts, then I was able to apply for credit cards. And they were small credit cards. So, a Home Depot card, or like I said, a Best Buy card, or like gas cards, and things like that. And I remember I had like a $5,000 ExxonMobil card in my business name and everything.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
again, I didn't know what to do with it though. I built it up. So essentially, or I should say eventually, within a couple of months, I had $20,000 access to credit, among these different businesses. And my mentor helped me set it up. He set the foundation, but then I built it up, and I was like, okay, what's next? And I was ready to keep going. And it was like crickets. And so I was like, okay. And from there, I actually was able to leverage that and go and buy a guru program. Now, I did learn a lot in the guru program, like the education
Let's
and
talk
all of
about this
that.
Google program. What's up with this
Yeah,
Google
let's talk
program?
about that. So I did
Come
learn
on.
a lot, in the guru program, and I won't say the name,
Okay, that's cool.
but I did spend $20,000, and
Ooh,
or I financed $20,000 first of all, because I was like 21, 22, so I didn't have 20 racks, but I was able to. But I had credit, right? I understood that it was important to get my credit up and keep it up, and then leverage it, right? And I only learned that from reading the books that I was reading and going to the seminars and workshops and stuff that I was reading. Um, but yeah, so I was in there for 2 years, and I was showing up committed, going to the meetings and taking the classes. The education was good, but again, the support wasn't there. So I wasn't really an active member after 2 years, but yeah. So I mean, that was my experience with that. But to answer the other question, so that's what happened. That's my story of building up that credit. But unfortunately, I didn't have the guidance to. I'm like, okay, what do I do next? Nobody said take that money and go, pull the cash off and go buy a property. Nobody said that. Nobody said, or pull the cash out, put it in the bank, and now go and use that as collateral and get another $20,000 against that. Nobody
right.
said that. Like I didn't have the game that I have now. And so that's why I'm like, it's trial and error. Like, yeah, I started a long time ago, but it wasn't like started and took off. It was like started, trying to figure it out, and that's what a lot of people's story. I'm not gonna say anybody, but that's what a lot of people's story. And but yeah, so that's that. My road to
I,
business credit, and then investing in $20,000 in a guru program.
I think most people don't get it. Like I talk like I'm not trying to be flashy or arrogant right now, but so many people DM me on a daily basis. It's to the point like yesterday I said, I need an executive assistant. I got 12 VAs that work for me, but no one's giving me that undivided attention because they all don't went on to be very important pieces into my company. And the things that I need, I want to take them from the things that they got to do for me and my business. So
Mm-hmm.
I say a lot of people don't understand and grasp that entrepreneurship is nothing more than a roller coaster ride. It's ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. There's no such thing as
Right.
just pure winning and excellence and kicking ass. You're gonna have
Absolutely.
struggles and you're gonna get beat by people. You're gonna
Mm-hmm.
certain people gonna fall out your circles. People gonna screw you out of money. You're gonna wake up and question what are you doing. Like you're gonna question yourself. Like I've been doing this since 2013, so I know I'm a living testament that it ain't all as peaches and roses as most people make it seem. And even in my content, I make my content in a way that I try to explain to people that I don't want to show you the $50,000 car. I don't want to show you the money in my bank account. Because that's not for you. That's not your blessing. I want to show
Mm-hmm.
you that okay, you can do this, but you got to put work in, and you might fail a couple of times, but it's okay.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree 1,000%, bro. Like you said, our story is our story, and what sets us apart is the fact that we don't give up, that we didn't give up.
Right.
Even though even when you feel like giving up, or even when you got to take a break, because sometimes you get the wind knocked out of you and you get discouraged. But that's also why it's so good to have a solid it's why it's so good to have a solid team around you, a solid support system, because you are going to have those days, you are going to have those moments, are going to have those f ups, right? Where
Yeah.
you done messed up and you like, man, I'm trying to figure this out. It's gonna happen. There is no way around it. Like, I had somebody ask me, like, how do you get over the fear of investing? Like, really, you don't. You don't, because at each level, you're gonna keep learning stuff out, and you just gotta press forward anyway. You just try to. I told them, try to learn as much as you can, but don't think that you're going to know all there is to know before you get started, because you're never going to
Right.
know all
Right.
there is to know. And I feel like people be like, I don't know enough about investing, so I'm never going to get started, or I'm not going to get started, but they never get started. And that's the thing. You're not going to know all there is to know. Like, you have to take what you do know and be solid in that. Like, you know what? I don't know everything, but I know some things. And for what I don't know, I can piece the people together, right? I can call
Right.
an attorney, I can call the contractor, I can call up my boy, I can call up, or I can DM, or I can buy a course, or I can watch a podcast, right? Like, you have to be resourceful, right? Like, the resources are out there, you got to utilize them. That's the only way, to get past the fear and to take action.
Right. And like I was saying last week on my podcast, I was explaining to people the theory behind entrepreneurial anxiety, right? Like there's never been a day that I woke up and I'm not worried about what tomorrow looks like, or I'm not worried about, certain things because it's all on you, right? There's no like let me working a W-2 job, right? No matter how much work you put in, whether it's good or bad, you guarantee your 40 at the end of the week, right? It's different in the entrepreneur world. Like you can bust your ass all week and make nothing. That doesn't
Yeah.
equate to you not being good. It's just that's just what it is when you're the boss. So like I think a lot of people got to understand and take that into consideration before they start out. That they think that they're supposed to be, yeah, I got my contract signed. Can I get 100 likes on Facebook and where my money at? And I'm like, hey, you should try to get 3 more contracts signed because that contract might fall out and you might not close the deal.
Real talk. My girl says, she said it ain't over to the fat lady sing. So
Yeah,
with that being said, that means to the check has been deposited in the account. And especially we know that in real estate, anything can happen. I mean, I'm still having things that happen. Like I just had with the deals that I've done, like my first year as a realtor, I don't know how many deals I did. Might have did like just like seven. Like the average realtor does maybe like I think only like 2 deals a year. But
yeah, which is crazy.
my first year I might have did like 7 years or something like that. And then the second year I doubled that and it went up like 150% on my production. And then also like this year, things are COVID kind of put a damper in things, but I say I'm trying to think, where was I going with that? Dang, what was I saying?
You was talking about your deals, and every year you kind of like double.
Right. No, it was something. It was something that I said right
And
before
COVID
then.
put a damper into it, maybe like that kind of mess up your streak.
No, it was something I was saying right before then. I was trying to say
I don't know. I got
um,
a terrible memory.
consistency. I was talking about consistency, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just showing up, right? Because like, oh, that's what I was about to say. So with what I've learned with the deals that I've done, the deals that I'm still doing, is that anything can happen in a deal, man. And there's no way to prepare yourself for it because there's no houses that are a 100% alike. Like I just had a property that we got inspected the other day and it had 104 items on the inspection report.
Man, these
104.
inspections terrible. I got inspection tomorrow. I'm like, I hate
But
these damn inspections.
104, and wait, and was a recently rehab property.
That's what I'm saying.
So I've never had no hundred and nothing, inspection report come back. So that was new, like dealing with all of the intricacies of that. But I say all that to say, like you said, yeah, congratulations, you got one deal under contract, but you got to keep going. You got to do exactly what you did, and grind 10 times harder to, go get more deals so you can get them more, more under contract.
So what was the secret when you went from doing 7 deals to basically doing 14 deals? I'm assuming because you said you double it. What was the
Yeah, I
difference?
went
Was
up.
it a mindset shift or was it just a difference in production, like you was doing more?
It was a grind shift. It was a
Okay.
grind shift. It was a definitely like, hey, I gotta hustle. I also was able to. I quit my 9 to 5, right, because that was something that I realized was hindering me.
Right.
So yeah, I quit my 9 to 5 last year in June. So dang, I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary. I ain't even realized
Congratulations, man.
it. Yeah. So I quit my 9 to 5 in June. And it was really like I said a grind shift. It was knowing that where I was um keeping me the reason why I was where I was because I was at my 9 to 5 and my business was missing out. And it got to a point where it was actually costing me to still be sitting at that desk every day. And I was
Right.
like, okay, I'm losing money. When it came to that, I was like, I'm losing money. I gotta go. So it was definitely a grind shift of going harder. And then this year, I'm sure, like with my team on track, we're gonna blow it out the water, because now, I have assistants in place, to manage my the brand, right? Because brand awareness is also huge. Like I have,
Oh,
a decent
you
following.
want to touch on that? Because a lot of people don't even get to see the behind the curtains of what it takes to run a brand. And I
Yeah.
don't like calling myself an influencer, but what it takes to run a brand, and let's talk about that. That's very exciting to me.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because here's the thing. I always ask people, why are you on social media? Real talk. Why are you on social media? Are you on here to be entertained or to be entertaining, or are you on here to get business, right? I
Right,
mean, some people aimlessly scroll, like, if that's right. I'm not talking to that person. Like, that's your business. You're not trying to be an entrepreneur and do, that's do your thing. But the people who have a business and are trying to do business and are wondering, like, why they not growing or why whatever, like, for one, brand awareness is key. Like, it would kill me to listen to a family or a friend and they say, oh, I just, bought a house, or I just sold a house, or I just flipped a house or whatever. Cause I'm be like, man, why you ain't call me? And if they say I didn't know you did real estate, that's a problem, right? That's a
right,
problem. Everybody and their mama need to know I do real estate. And then also too, what type of community, what type of tribe are you building? Are you out here educating people? Like, if you look on my timeline, I am literally, people say dropping gems, whatever. I just say educating people. But I'm literally, giving out this free game because, people need it, right?
right.
It was not, this stuff is not talked about in our households. Like, it was something that I literally had to pay for and grind to figure out. Like, even secrets of investing and secrets of the wealthy, right? Like, learning about business credit and leveraging that, and leveraging like self-directed IRAs and stuff like that. Like, it wasn't, those are conversations that I didn't start having until I got into different circles. I wasn't around my family and friends talking about that and figuring that stuff out. I wasn't around them. So being able to put that information out to the public, now the floodgates have opened, because they like, man, I want to work with you. How can I work with you? How can I get on a call with you? And because you're giving out so much free information, like, people are more attracted to your brand and they want to work with you and they want to do business with you. But yeah, it is a whole job too, running a brand behind the scenes. Like I said, I do, have, my social media help, and I actually run other social media pages too. So I don't just run my page, because of the strategy that I have and what I've been able to employ. People have actually hired me to do that. So that's another stream of income. That's another side hustle. I don't promote it because, again, my focus is real estate and my brand is real estate. But because I've been able to be good at it and I know, what people feed off of, I've been able to use that and leverage that to grow. And because of that, like, literally, man, I don't even know what the exact number is. I'll get it, but because of that, a ton of my clients come from social media. Like, people ask me,
Yeah,
like, how are you getting so many leads?
people
Social
don't
media.
understand. Like, I literally
For
built one of
free.
my
For
businesses
free
off
at that.
just social media, like the power of word of mouth. Like, paid ads and all that's great, but it's nothing like having somebody that verify you and say, "Hey, I bought this person product. You should buy it too because this is why."
Yep.
It's not no infomercial, no paid Facebook ad, no YouTube ad. None of that can touch that. I don't care what nobody says.
Absolutely. And you're so right. And it's 100% organic, and it's 100% for free because of the information that you give. So the
Right.
thing is to give so much free information that when you finally ask for the sale, people almost feel guilty for not paying you. Right.
I agree.
And that's also what they call the jab, 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 right hook method, right? That you give, 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 give.
Right.
And then, if you have a product to purchase, or if you have, something, right? But here's the thing, you also have to present it as if, like, you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't get on the phone with me or work with me or whatever the case, because you got the jewels. Like, who is
Right.
dropping gems, like, on your specific niche, right? Because I'm not trying to be all over the place, like, but who is giving it the way you are going to give it on your specific thing, right? How are you going to deliver that content? And are you delivering it in a way that people can receive it? You
Right,
know?
right.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, like just like you said, even if you don't have an actual influence or you don't have a YouTube channel, but you in business for yourself, no matter if you like it or not, you're a brand. You just haven't tapped into it. You could be a brand and we just know you for posting stupid ass videos on Facebook. We're gonna call you a
That's your
joke or a
brand.
clown. You know,
That's your brand.
you
That's who
might
you
just
are, and
post.
that's what you're
Yeah,
about.
so you represent whatever you put out. That's what you represent, and you being judged by default, even if you're a good person. So now, like me, I kind of like watch what I put out. I kind of watch what I speak on because I know that sometimes it may be a potential client that I may be offended, and I will never get a chance to work with them or even speak my piece because of the
Yeah.
perception. We live in a reality right now where perception is reality.
Is reality. Say that
You know,
again. You
yeah.
can say
So
that
you got to
again.
clean up your brain. So if you're thinking about being a wholesaler, an influencer, a service provider, the first thing first, you need to drop straight content every day. You need to learn how to start doing storylines, tell stories, right? And I'm not talking no scripted WWF shit. I'm talking about just navigating through your content where it's organized and people can digest
Right.
it. And oh yeah, he talked about this last night. He talking about that. Okay, I got it. You get
Right.
what I'm saying? And number one, this is my favorite one. Give more than you take, right? So if don't sit up here and fake give because we can see the shit a mile away, and then turn around,
Right.
oh yeah, buy my $10,000 product. Give so much, like Rashauna said, that they're like, man, I feel bad. I ain't give bro his money or sister money. Let me go ahead and swipe my card. You get what I'm
Period.
saying? And when you do that, you become a value to your community. You got to become an asset, right? When people see your name come across the screen, they're gonna stop what they're doing to watch it because they feel like everything you're talking about is high level. It ain't no
Mm-hmm.
regurgitated, watered down content.
Mm-hmm. Boom. I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that brand stuff is powerful, man. It takes you to like there's a lot of stuff I do in the background that I don't really advertise because it doesn't align with my immediate brand, what people see me as. There's a lot of opportunities like people don't know I just signed to a publishing company that's going to really help take my brand to the next level.
Hey,
We're gonna
turn
put the
up.
official announcement out there soon.
Congrats.
Yeah, yeah. So I just signed myself to a publishing company, and I feel like this company is gonna get me over the hump, right, and really get me out there like I want to be. And it's just basically go organizing the content in ways that I can't do it, right? So, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with first of all, guys. There's nothing wrong with making multiple streams of income. There's nothing wrong with having a product to sell. There's nothing wrong with getting paid off to your information that you can provide to the marketplace, as long as it's good information, right? There's nothing wrong about it. It's all about how you present it and at a most appropriate time, right? You can't just be selling, 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 selling. You got to,
Right.
like you said, jab, 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 then right hook. So I like that saying. So I agree.
Cool. Cool.
So is there anything you want to leave anybody with, like any words of wisdom, anything you're working on, anything you want to leave the folks with?
You said anything that I'm working on. So, I have two ways that you guys can, well, really one way that you can kind of connect with me and keep up with me. But then also, I know I talked a lot about house hacking, right? We broke that all the way down. And a friend of mine has an amazing course. It's a house hacking 101 course. So if you guys click the link in my Instagram bio, it is there, and it breaks down everything about house hacking, as well as even a detailed spreadsheet on how to run your numbers, right? Because we talked about that numbers being important. And then I have my women's group, which I love. It's my baby. I do my thing for realtors, and for working with clients, both men and
Uh huh.
women. But women don't really. I felt like women didn't have the support in this industry. They didn't have the space in this industry, and so I created a group called Infinity, and it's called Infinity because I believe wealth building should be just an ongoing conversation. We meet
Right.
twice a month, and we have different women experts, all things real estate investing, and we dive deep. We dive deep. So we've talked about private investing, wholesaling, flipping. We've heard from women general contractors, women developers. I mean, the list goes on, tax lien investors. So That is my baby, Infinity, and the link is in the bio for that too. But yeah, no, you guys can find me. I'm at Rashauna Scott everywhere: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube at Rashauna Scott. And then, or you can, for my ladies, my other Instagram page is at Flipping at Heels.
Okay, I'm just making. I just put that in all the comments. Follow you at Instagram. Your Instagram booming. You got 54,000 followers. Good God, man, this thing booming. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I
Well,
I
I'm so
appreciate
glad
you.
you had me on. Thank you.
No, I appreciate you for coming on. You're such a humble, down to earth person. Can't wait to kick it with you soon. Hopefully
I
after the
know.
COVID thing, we supposed to went
After
to
COVID.
Phoenix, I think, Arizona to kind of kick it. But
Man, it
once
was on my calendar. It was supposed to be this weekend.
man, we supposed to went this weekend. Nobody knew that I was gonna fly to Cali to go chill with Propstream and shoot some behind the scenes stuff out there after the weekend, and then come on back home later next week. But things happen for a reason. I never question why things happen. Everything
Yeah.
happens for a reason. Actually, this vibe is giving me time to recalibrate my brain. It's giving me time to really work on sitting back, listening to my clients' feedback, and like you said earlier, you buy a product, and now you feel like you don't have the support, and that's what we was at with our company, a V1 training, a VA company. We gave out amazing VAs and we gave out amazing products, but the clients felt like they didn't have support. So we came up with ongoing training and ongoing workshops and things like that where you can come as much as you want until you feel like you got it on your own. So I
Nice.
definitely a very big fan of constructive criticism in business. So
Yeah, I've been
yeah,
building out them systems, man. That Podia automation is on fire now.
yeah, my Podio, I spent $1,000 to get my Podio built, so it was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I catch you on the flip side. Maybe I might get an invite out to Chicago. When I do, I hop on the plane and come out there. But
All right,
appreciate
bro. Yeah,
you.
thank
Be
you so
easy,
much
be
for
safe
having
out
me
there. Thank you
on.
so much.
Yeah, you be safe. All right, talk
Okay,
to you.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right, bye bye. Yeah, that was Rashauna Scott. Go follow her on Instagram at Rashauna Scott. Next week I got Max uh Jimenez or Jimenez. I forgot how to pronounce my guy's name. He's going to be coming on and as well as another guest I will be announcing I guess tomorrow. We lined up. Listen, if you know anybody that you think that's worthy, right? To be on this show, as you see, I'm proving my point to make this show one of the highly sought out shows in the next 12 months that people will be listening to. Let me know, right? I don't care about having a whole bunch of big name people, but I definitely want people that's going to be transparent when we get to the interview. So, appreciate you guys. Remember this: sacrifice now, ball forever. Don't give up on yourself. Success is right around the corner as long as you keep pushing, and things will get better. Catch you next Wednesday, 12 o'clock on another But Nugget show. Adios.